Welcome to Personal Mastery Training. I'm your host, Alvin Brown, former world-class athlete turned entrepreneur and consultant. Join us as we learn from guests who have conquered their inner battles and share their journeys to success. Get ready for inspirational masterclasses and thought-provoking strategy sessions to fuel your path to personal mastery. Let's dive in. Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to Personal Mastery Training. All right, so today's conversation, let's call it reverse engineering failure. So this came to me when I thought about the time and energy and focus that it takes someone to actually fail. See, here's the thing. We think failing is a passive activity. We think it just sneaks up on us. We think we have bad luck. We think we can avoid it. We think it's just our destiny. We think it's just your fate. But I'm going to say, when I think about it and think about the people that I've helped over the years, those who have retreated back to mediocrity, chosen, I thought about it and I thought, it's the same energy. Because when you think about failing, think about how many times a day you have to think about, I'm not good enough. How many times you repeat that? I'm not good enough. And by the way, you don't even know enough what enough is. How many times do you think I'm an imposter? How many times do you think and say to yourself, I can't do this? How many times do you think and to yourself, who am I to deserve this? How many times a day does that happen for you to start to believe it and start to do the things that will lead you ultimately to that goal where you fail yourself? And no one ever fails. It's really difficult for me to even use that word. But how many times a day in a regular day do you use this conversation in your head? Think about it. This narrative that runs that says, again, I'm not good enough. I can't do this. Now, when I say reverse engineer it, I was thinking the other day, I thought to myself, man, if they really sat down and thought about how many times a day I think these thoughts, how many times a day I don't do what I'm supposed to do, and they reverse it and think, once I documented it, I realized that I say I can't do it probably 50 times a day. So why don't I reverse that and take up that same time that I spent on saying I can do this, saying I can find a way. And then how many times that you were supposed to do something that would move you forward and you don't? What if I take that time that I wasted on the internet, social media, whatever it might be, and I put that into doing one activity that leads me to where I want to go? What if I do all these things, put them together, and literally, so here's what I want you to do. One day, so if you find that you're in that failure mode and can't seem to shake your way out of it, what I want you to do is to get a journal. And for one day, I want you to take inventory of your thoughts. How many times a day do I sit here, I catch myself thinking I can't do this? I'm not good enough. Document it. Take inventory on it. How many times a day do you have a self-defeating attitude? Beat yourself up. And you should be doing the most important but not urgent things, quadrant 2. But you sit there and not choose not to do it. You have it written down, you set your goals, but when it comes to it, the narrative kicks in and you just sit there and do nothing. Take inventory on all the habits that lead you to failure. Write it down. Then what I want you to do is to go, you know what, tomorrow. So I've written it down and I notice that, wow, I say to myself negative self talk at least 50 times a day, maybe more. Yesterday, I did 2 hours of social media scrolling. I beat myself up. I was sitting in freeze all day, time wasting. And then tomorrow, you go, you know what? I'm going to replace that 50 times a day of self beating myself up with 50 times of I am statements, affirmative, positive I am statements. I'm going to reverse it. Take the same time, but I'm going to reverse it now. 50 times I'm going to say, I am the greatest. I am capable. I am successful. Instead of entertaining the opposite, just for one day. And then you think to yourself, geez, this is the time. I spent 2 hours yesterday scrolling online. Why don't I take half of that, an hour, towards my goal? Then you think to yourself, I know I should be. I want to do this action. Take one action. Because typically I wouldn't, because all my narrative. What if you reversed it? All the time put into being negative. What if one day, just one day, you said, I'm going to reverse it all? I'm going to reverse engineer failure. And I'm going to do the opposite. Because the same 24 hours is going to go by. But what if I flipped it? Instead of every day of my 7 days a week, I'm entertaining this idea of negative self-talk, and I'm chatting to myself and beating myself up. What if? I'm not asking for a lifetime. I'm asking one day, you just turn it around and you start to do the flip. Wow, I spent 50 times in negative self-talk. Tomorrow, 50 times, I'm going to negate that and say something positive to myself. Yesterday, I spent 2 hours scrolling social media. What if I spent 1 hour? I would say two, but let's be real. Let's take 1 hour. I'm going to do some action towards my goal. What if tomorrow I did that one thing to move me towards my goal? I affirmed, I visualized myself being successful. So tomorrow, one day a week, one day out of 7, I'm going to do the flip. Right? Just one day. Entertain it. What do you think would happen? Scary. What would happen is, my belief is that, first of all, it would be scary. It'd be strange, very strange. You'd most likely feel foolish because all those times you've been telling yourself and setting yourself up, and now this strange behavior kicks in, and you're thinking to yourself, who am I fooling? Hey, you're fooling yourself that you don't know anyway, so why don't you fool yourself on the flip side? So take me up on that challenge if you're the person who struggles with feeling like you're failing. Take me up one day out of 7. You kick ass and you flip the script on yourself. One day. Feel like a fool for a day and entertain me and tell me what it feels like. So that's the podcast episode. I'm going to lay that challenge out to you to one day flip the script and do the opposite. Same amount of time. So let's say 16 hours a day. You're at 8 for sleep. We have a 16. So let's go 8. 8 hours of that you're going to spend flipping the script. And then send me a message. Let me know how that works. Reverse the script on failure. And let's see. Same time, but we're doing a different narrative. All right, let me know. All right, until next time. Peace. I'm out.